Welcome back, everybody, to your three-man booth. This is NFL Week 2. Oh, man, 1 week is in the books. I'm Dan Salem with Phil and Bud, and it was an interesting week, especially for our New York teams. Some surprising losses, a couple of really awesome football games, and our records speak to the shenanigans. I went 1-1. Phil and Bud put up some goose eggs because they tried to pick some favorites. We're going to do better this weekend with our ATS picks. It was a tough go. I think the only one of us that really did well was me, who took a ton of points in Cleveland. Phil, we'll give you a second chance here to redeem yourself. Go 2-0 and even up your score. What do you got for week 2?
First of all, I still don't understand how Cincinnati just won. Right, I'm at the stadium. I'm following the phone. The Vikings are down 14 points. Then they score again and tie it up. And I'm like, all right, great. Goes into overtime. I'm looking at it, and it says they have the ball with like a minute and a half left. And then I look again. Cincinnati kicked the field goal. What the? I don't know what the hell happened. So anyway, that sucked.
I don't either, but you lost some money on that one.
I did. So those I did bet for because I was in the state lines of New Jersey, so I was actually able to lose some money. And then I said, all right, let me take Green Bay. Green Bay is going to win. Aaron Rodgers, the comeback tour, the big FU to the organization, and boy, that was over after the first quarter. What a disaster that was. I know. Well, I'm sure that'll be one of the things we get into, but
I should not be allowed to play Survivor because this is 2 years in a row that I just got bombed out the first week. Green Bay killed me.
It just
killed a lot of people.
Yeah, nobody saw that coming. I did redeem myself, however. I did take the Rams as favorites, which I was going to do the whole time, but I got a little bit of redemption. So I personally went 1-2. I went 0-2 in these picks, but that's right. We're going to do it again. Obviously, I saw Denver live. Denver's playing Jacksonville. Man, Jacksonville is it's not good. It doesn't look good. So I'll take Denver laying the 6. For no other reason that Denver's defense is very, very good, and Jacksonville just got beat by the other worst team in the league. So I don't see any reason how Denver doesn't not cover this. And then my second one is going to be Arizona. Arizona looked, well, from what I heard, I didn't see a lot of this. Arizona, from what I heard, looked awesome. They were in. So, and the Vikings killed me, so it's a little bit of sour grapes, but I will take Arizona laying 3.5.
We'll talk more about some of these lopsided games, but it makes you wonder, like, which teams were just not prepared. Arizona dominated, but are they really that good? We'll find out.
We'll find out. I'm gonna drink the Kool-Aid for week 2.
All right, but who do you like in week 2?
I'm going to take Buffalo over Miami. I'm shocked that Buffalo lost to Pittsburgh. I mean, Pittsburgh scored 23 points in the second half. The first quarter and a half of that game, Buffalo was, looking pretty dominant. And then for whatever reason, the second half, they just they didn't show up. And I'm not sold on Miami. I mean, Miami barely beat New England. As a matter of fact, New England probably should have won if it wasn't for a couple of misplays. And then I'm going to take Cleveland over Houston and lay the 300 points that they're laying.
Yeah.
Cleveland should have beaten Kansas City this week. Cleveland looked for 3 quarters every bit of the team that people think that they're going to be. Houston's going to realize very quickly they're not playing Jacksonville. They're going to be playing a top 5 defense and an offense that Baker Mayfield looked awesome. I know he had 2 turnovers, but that turnover at the end of the game, I mean, I don't even chalk that up. I mean, he was getting tackled from the back as he was making the throw. I think he was trying to throw it away. He just couldn't get enough on it and just threw it to the guy. So
very nice. I like those picks. I'm on the Denver bandwagon. I was amazed at how much they put the Giants in their place. I think that their defense is just as good as it was last season, because I'm not ready to bail on New York's offense, but Denver looked pretty damn good, and they're only laying 6 against Jacksonville. Jacksonville's defense is atrocious. I don't think Houston is good. I think that they're a bad team. Jacksonville, Denver, like Phil, like you said, it's just you gotta give up those points, right, and take the Broncos. And then I'm gonna stick in the AFC West. The Vegas Raiders really impressed me last night. Their offense really, really impressed me. And they're getting 5.5, right, against Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh's defense is very good, right? They stop Buffalo. But their offense, and Vegas Raiders, their offense is more powerful enough to to at least cover 5.5. I think starting with a 5.5 lead is definitely doable for Vegas. Derek Carr looked really, really good. I people were talking him up preseason, and I saw it in action last night. I was impressed. Now
as long as Vegas throws 20 times Darren Waller, they have a shot.
Either Baltimore has a really bad defense or Vegas has a really good offense, because there was no defense last night in that football game, Monday Night Football. 6 hopeful winners for week 2. I'm eliminated from Survivor. You two are still in it. Do you want to divulge your picks, or do you want to keep them close to the belt?
We're only in week 2. I think there's plenty of teams out there, and even if we pick the same one, I mean, as you said before, only 4 people got knocked out because everybody else. Yeah, who was the other team?
They picked the 49ers or the Rams.
The 49ers.
Oh, the Niners, right. Who almost coughed that game up at the end. Thank God they had a lead.
That would have eliminated like 6 or 8 people.
That would have been great. I think, Dan, you may have talked me into Denver as a Survivor pick. I mean, listen, but that's the obvious one, right? Because everyone's going to go against Jacksonville now. Everyone's going to go against Houston. Those are the whole goal of Survivor is to pick the team or pick a team that not everybody else is on.
You kind of have to go chalk.
Yeah.
Just to keep going.
Yeah, you're right.
I would say Tampa's going to be chalk. Cleveland this week's going to be chalk, and probably Denver, because the Atlanta game for Tampa is playing 12 points. So anyone that's
but we're not playing against
points,
the spread, so it doesn't matter. You're just picking straight winners.
No, I get that, but those are the obvious picks, because if the spread's 12 points, you should win regardless.
What do you think? Do you think this is the end for Matt Ryan? Because that was pathetic showing by the Falcons.
It was a bad game. Their defense is not good though, too. So I mean, it's just a culmination of a lot of things. I mean, they have no weapons on offense anymore. I mean, other than Pitts, but he was essentially a non-factor. So, let's talk about the Giants a little bit. I mean, no running game. Daniel Jones consistently making errors and making mistakes like he always does. The defense didn't look good at all. I mean, where was the top 10 defense that they were last year? Teddy Bridgewater played awesome.
I'll tell you where they were. They were on the field too goddamn long. That's the problem.
Well, I gotta ask.
Actually, for 3 quarters, the game was actually a 1-score game. And until Daniel Jones fumbles the ball in the red zone, you're gonna get a field goal or a touchdown out of that drive, no matter what.
No.
So that would have been a lot closer game had he not done that.
No, I know. But you've said that 40 times in his career. I think he's got like the record for most fumbles as a quarterback.
He has 18 fumbles lost in his career, and he's only played 27 games. And like listen, Phil.
I know. I agree with you. It's not. He can't do it.
He every year they come out and they say, well, he can't make the same mistakes. It's the same stuff. I mean, I know it's only one game, but I mean, I feel like at least once a game he leaves points on the board with stupid turnovers.
Yeah, that was a turning point in the game, because if he do that, they're going to get some points. Earlier in the week, that Galladay said, "Listen, the offense is going to be slow because Barkley and myself, we haven't been in camp, we don't have the reps."
I know.
So
Sterling Shepard again was the best on the Giants offense, and I mean that's why they lost, because he should be like really good, but not the best.
I'm going to bring it up again. What is the plan in Washington? Because it's not
Taylor,
and it's not Taylor Hinkie, because if it was Taylor Hinkie, he would have been starting week 1. I don't understand what they're doing in Washington. And
I think it's Heineke.
Now you're going to find out. Whatever. Yeah. Heineke, whatever. He was a backup. He was the backup to Fitz. Now he has to.
The plan is to defend their division title, Phil.
But just whatever. We're going to see how good he is, because he's playing week 2 on a short week.
There's no easy wins in that division for the Giants this season.
By the way, Jalen Hurts looked pretty good.
They also played Atlanta too, so that helps.
They did.
Well, Daniel Jones played Denver, and he looked good.
They played the number 1 defense in the league.
Potentially.
Oh, please. It's 1 week, Phil. I mean, but
it'd be one thing if the Eagles won like 20-7. They blew them out.
But I want to go back to something that Phil said. Galladay is not playing. And
he played. Yeah. He just didn't practice all
right. And then Barkley. But my point is that you have 2 of your top players who are coming out and saying that the offense is going to be slow. Then your quarterback needs to pick up the slack. because there are still enough playmakers on the offense that they could still score points.
You're also missing Evan Ingram too with the calf strain. That doesn't.
Mr. Drop doesn't do anything, Phil. I mean,
Hey,
you know that.
hey, do we make excuses as Jets fans?
No, I mean, they just suck. I mean, it's kind of.
Oh, I wanted. We'll talk. I wanted to try and talk about it in a second. I don't actually think that they looked that bad in the game, considering.
No, neither do I actually.
But
I think
to-
they look
to
in
Dan's
the
point,
Giants.
To put a bow on the Giants side, but yes, Thursday's a very important game. You go 1-1, everything's better. You go 0-2, at least you have the Falcons coming up in week 3.
Week 1 always is weird because you got like a month and a half to prepare for this team, technically speaking. But it's the only game that anyone's at. But no one's actually really played much football. So injuries happen, people aren't ready, and the right game plan, and you just destroy an opponent. Which brings me to the Jets, which is why I was reasonably impressed with their opening week performance, considering their weaknesses are so glaring. It's like a bright light in my face. And yet they managed to play halfway decent in spite of that. I wrote an article today on BuzzChomp, and like obviously the offensive line has got problems. I mean, but I think I'm hopeful they're a work in progress. But I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'm hopeful that this was the first time they actually played together on the field, that game that counts, and like so they got to learn to gel, they got to learn to communicate. And now that they obviously lost Becton for 4 to 6 weeks, so hopefully they'll pick things up. But they had no running game. That's what really scares me about the Jets. They really did not have much of a running game.
Well, they don't have a running game because their offensive line is garbage.
Yeah.
He was sacked 6 times and he was hit an additional 9, not including the sacks.
I know.
That's not gonna be great.
He still looked pretty good. I was impressed with Wilson.
The throw he made when he was rolling out to his right to Corey Davis in the end zone. The camera couldn't even catch up to the ball. It was just, I mean, and that was a 35-yard pass that he made look pretty effortless. The kid's got an arm. I mean, I don't think anybody denies that. I mean, I think that he realized, the game's a little bit faster when it's actually, meaningful games rather than preseason. He certainly held his own. I mean, he threw for almost 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. That one interception, he's just got to throw the ball a little higher. I mean, the guy was there. 3 more inches and he probably would have cleared the linebacker there. But
now I got to ask, do you think Carolina has a really good defense? Because they had a pretty good one last year. Maybe their defense is just on a level in which there was nothing the Jets were going to do.
Their defensive front is really good, but I think the Jets' offensive line is not very good.
Yeah,
and you could tell like in the first half, like he wasn't reading the defense as well.
Right.
He was forcing throws. I mean, at one point he was like 1 for 9 or something like that. But he certainly straightened it out.
The Jets only gave up 19 points. 3 of them were off a turnover that was deep in their own territory. So they held them to a field goal in that situation. They kept their offense in the game, and they were in a position to actually win at the end.
When they got 16-8, I was like, I started to like pace a little bit more, because when they were 16-0, I was like, just same old Jets. Listen, they have fight. I mean, they played much better in the second half. I mean, much better in the second half. Even the defense played better in the second half. They made adjustments. What a shocking, concept. We're so used to a coaching staff that doesn't make any adjustments at halftime. They just come out and they suck worse in the first half. So.
I'm not betting on the Jets this season. They're too unpredictable.
That's what I'm hearing. Oh no, you gotta make a stand.
I've been telling you that for like 5 years. Never bet on the Jets.
Aside from Mac Jones, who started in Wilson and Lawrence, Fields and Lance both came in the game, and essentially their first pass in the NFL were for touchdowns. It's like, at what point are these guys just going to be given the reins? Because Andy Dalton has like a 1 more game leash, and that's it.
I think you see it faster in Chicago. If the 49ers continue to win, there's no way they go away from Garoppolo. I agree with that.
I
think that Andy Dalton did not look super great. I mean, he looked okay. I mean, he looked like Andy Dalton. I mean, he looked like a game manager, and I don't think that energizes the fan base at all. I think Justin Fields came in and showed what he can do. He's a big dude. He has a strong arm. I could very easily see the 49ers using Lance like they used to use Kaepernick.
That division, every single team won in week 1. So it's a tough road to climb.
That's going to be, I mean, we talked about this last year. I mean, Is it possible that all 4 teams from that division make the playoffs?
I guess it's the race for the number 1 pick between Houston and Jacksonville. And right now, Jacksonville has the inside edge.